Where are you? We got some work to do now.
Scooby Doo is one of America's most famous and popular cartoons of all time. The show's ranks up there with Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry. My generation grew up watching the gang solve mysteries every Saturday morning. As a little kid, some episodes were downright scary to me. But by the end of the episode, the gang would solve the mystery. It was always a guy dressed in some sort of spooky ghost or monster-like costume trying to scare people in the gang. Through teamwork, the gang figured out who it was, and I felt relieved. I compiled a few fun facts about the show and its origins. Hope you will enjoy, and if you do, please hit like and subscribe. Abbott and Costello were a major influence on Scooby Doo. TV executive Fred Silverman told MTV Legends that, "I had always thought that Kids in a Haunted House would be a big hit. As a kid, I would go and look at Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and movies like that." Silverman pitched CBS's show called Who's SS Scared? But the dog was in the background. "I was convinced this was going to be the biggest hit that we'd ever had, even though nobody knew what the hell it was," Silverman told MTV Legends. He pitched then CBS president Frank Stanton, who told him, "We can't put that on the air. That's just too frightening." Silverman had to rework the concept of the show and made it more about Scooby. "And our Abbott and Costello will be Scooby Doo and Shaggy," Silverman said. "In a matter of 2 hours, we had revised the concept and it worked great." Scooby Doo's name came from Frank Sinatra's Stranger in the Night. Silverman explained how he was on a red-eye flight to LA and couldn't sleep. CBS had just rejected his idea of a group of teens and a dog trying to solve mysteries, so he was in the middle of coming up with new ideas. "As we're landing, Frank Sinatra comes on and I hear him say, 'Scooby Doo be Doo.' I said, 'That's it. We'll call it Scooby Doo.'" Casey Kasem voiced Scooby Doo's Shaggy for nearly 30 years, but exited the show due to his veganism. Radio host Casey Kasem voiced Shaggy from 1969 to 1997. He left the show, but returned in 2002. In real life, Kasem was a vegan and he wanted Shaggy to be a vegan as well. When Kasem was asked to voice Shaggy in a Burger King commercial, he protested and quit the show. But in 2002, Kasem convinced the producers to allow Shaggy to become a vegetarian. ABC thought Scrappy Doo was a bad role model. In 1979, Joseph Barbera and Mark Evanier had developed Scrappy Doo. Scrappy would be Scooby's nephew. They did this to prevent ABC from canceling the series. 16 episodes of Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo aired during the 1979-1980 season. Unfortunately, ABC's standards and practices felt Scrappy was not a positive influence on kids. Mark wrote about the experience on his blog. Shortly after the last of many recordings of Mark of the Scarab, that first script, it dawned on ABC broadcast standards that maybe Scrappy was a bad role model for the children. The network felt Scrappy was too much of a radical character and free thinker. Shows you the difference of what people thought back then and the way people think nowadays. Fan theories. Fred and Shaggy were draft dodgers and Scooby was a Soviet-trained spy hound. There are many Scooby-Doo fan theories that it's almost impossible to list them all. Here are 3 that are the most popular and weird. The first being that Shaggy is a stoner. This would explain why he always has the munchies. Another belief is that Scooby-Doo is able to speak English because he was a Soviet experiment. The Soviets were able to train a dog to speak English. This one is really out there. Again, it shows the difference in thinking from those times to modern times. Add to that the gang always being on the move in the Mystery Machine because they're actually draft dodgers, avoiding the Vietnam War. Welcome to the 1970s. There were many celebrities who voice appearances. Every episode of the new Scooby-Doo movies had a guest star. Dick Van Dyke, Sonny and Cher, and the Harlem Globetrotters are just a few of the people who played themselves in this slot. The real reason why Fred and Daphne were always split off together. It wasn't so they could hook up and do the horizontal mambo. It's because the writers simply wanted to write for the more interesting characters. So off went Fred and Daphne to do busy work off screen. The original name for Scooby Doo was supposed to be Too Much. The original concept format was supposed to be a rock band with a dog who plays the bongos. I assume something like Josie and the Pussycats. Another great classic cartoon I watched frequently as a kid in the 70s, the line when Velma says, "My glasses. I can't see without them," was actually said by the voice actor, Nicole Jaffe, at the first reading. Velma's line, "My glasses, I can't see without them," was actually said by the voice actor, Nicole Jaffe, at the first reading. The showrunners heard Nicole say that in the studio for real and thought it was a cute line, so they made it part of Velma's character.
Thank you for watching my video. Please feel to leave comment if you liked or if you did not like. I learning as I go along.